Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Arish Asif Khan and today we will start a new chapter Stoichiometry Unit 6th from class 9th chemistry book Federal Board National Book Foundation. So the introduction to stoichiometry. Stoichiometry is the part of chemistry that deals with the calculation of reactants and products in a chemical reaction. It is based on the laws of conservation of mass and the concept that matter is made up of atoms. Historically, the ancient Greek philosophers believed that all matter was composed of basic elements like water, air, fire, and earth. But in the 19th century, John Dalton introduced the atomic theory, laying the foundation of modern chemistry. Now let's talk about the empirical formula and the molecular formula. The empirical formula is the simplest whole number ratio of atoms of each element in a compound. For example, we have hydrogen peroxide. We have H2O2. So if you want to find the empirical formula of H2O2, it will be 1:1. Why? Because if you divide 2 with 2 and for oxygen you divide 2 with 2, the resultant will always be 1:1. Because hydrogen has 2 atomic numbers, so it will be divided by its atomic number, which means 1. So the empirical formula will be HO or 1:1. Now for the same as glucose, as you can see, there is C6H12O6. You need to pick the smallest number. The smallest number is 6. So divide 6 with the values. So dividing 6 by 6 will be 1, dividing 12 by 6 will be 2, and dividing 6 by 6 will be 1. So the empirical formula or the ratio of glucose will be 1:2:1, or you can say C1 or only C H2 and O1 or O, meaning CH2O. This will be the empirical formula of glucose. Now let's go to the molecular formula. Molecular formula shows the actual number of atoms of each element in a molecule. Example is of hydrogen peroxide. As you can see, it shows how many number of atoms does hydrogen have and how many number of atoms does oxygen have. Same for glucose. It shows how many atoms hydrogen and carbon and even oxygen has. Now we have some elements which have the same molecular formula and the same empirical formula. As you can see, benzene, it has the molecular formula of C6H6. Now if I want to convert this molecular formula into empirical, what you can do is pick the smallest value out of these two elements. So the smallest value is 6. So divide 6 on both sides, which will result in 1:1 or only CH. So the empirical formula or molecular formula of benzene will be as shown. Now we have some examples like water, H2O. Its empirical formula will also be equal to the molecular formula. Same as for carbon dioxide, CO2 will be equal to the empirical and also the molecular. Same for ammonia, methane, and sulfur dioxide. Now let's go to the concept assessment exercise. They are saying that write the empirical formula for the compound containing carbon to hydrogen in the following ratios. The first ratio is 1:4. This means that there is 1 atom of carbon for every 4 atoms of hydrogen. So the empirical formula will be CH4. The second ratio is 2:6. So this means that you will divide both the numbers by the greatest common factor or the smallest value, which is 2, and you will get the result of 1:3. This means that the empirical formula will be C1 or only C and H3. Now you have 2:2. You need to get the greatest common factor or the lowest value, which is 2. Divide them on both sides. So the answer will be only CH or 1:1. Now you have 6:6. This means that you will divide both the numbers by 6. Why? Because it is the smallest value between them. Then the simplified ratio will be 1:1 or CH. Now we have another concept exercise of aspirin. Aspirin is used as a mild painkiller. There are 9 carbon atoms, 8 hydrogen atoms, and 4 oxygen atoms. This means that C9H8 and O4 is the molecular formula of aspirin. Now if I want to find the empirical, what is the smallest number from these three. The smallest value is 4, but you cannot divide 9 by 4. You can divide 8 by 4 but not 9 by 4. So this means that its empirical formula will stay the same, which will be 9 ratio 8 ratio 4, or it can stay as the molecular formula, which is C9H8O4. Another example is of vinegar, which is known as an acetic acid. It contains 2 carbon atoms, 4 hydrogen atoms, and 2 oxygen atoms. This means that its molecular formula will be C2H4NO2. Now, as you can see, the smallest value from these three elements is 2. So divide 2 on every atomic number. So you will see that 2 divided by 2 will result in 1. 4 divided by 2 will result in 2, and 2 divided by 2 will result in 1. So the empirical formula will be 1 ratio 2 ratio 1, or you can say CH2O. Now we have caffeine. Caffeine basically is found in tea and coffee. The molecular formula of caffeine is C8H10N4NO2. Now what is the smallest value between all these three elements? Yes, it's 2. So divide 2 by all of these numbers, which means 8 divided by 2 it is 4, 10 divided by 2 is 5, 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So this means that the empirical formula of caffeine will be 4 ratio 5 ratio 2 ratio 1, or C4H5N2NO. So let's go to the conclusion. The empirical formula gives us the simplest whole number ratio of atoms in a compound, and the molecular formula shows us the actual number of each type of atom in a molecule. I hope you guys liked my lecture. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you can never miss a future lecture. Thank you. So we need to complete the concept assessment exercise 6.3. As you can see, we have an element. This element is potassium chlorate, and we want to find the formula mass of this element. In order to do so, you need to check the molecular formula of potassium chlorate, which is KClO3. Now what you need to do is get your periodic table of elements and check what is the atomic mass unit of potassium, what is the atomic mass unit of chlorine, and what is the atomic mass unit of oxygen. Now once you have got the numbers like I have here, as you can see, in oxygen the number of atoms is 3, which means that if I have oxygen and its atomic mass is 16, 16 will be multiplied by 3, which will result in 48. Now as you can see, I have 39.1, which is the atomic mass of potassium, 35.5, which is the atomic mass of chlorine, and 48, which is the atomic mass of oxygen. Now if you add these all together, you will get a result of 122.6, and this is the atomic mass unit. So this is the formula mass, how you can calculate the formula mass. Now another example is of baking soda. We have sodium, we have hydrogen, we have carbon, and we have oxygen again. So let's say sodium is 23, hydrogen is 1.008 or 1, and carbon is 12, and oxygen, we already know that the atomic mass of oxygen is 16, and it will be multiplied with 3. So these are our atomic mass units. If you add them up, you will get the result of 84 atomic mass units. So that is your formula mass. Another example is of carbon dioxide. You can see that carbon dioxide only has 2 elements, carbon and oxygen. Now in here we do not have the number of atoms of oxygen as 3, but instead we have 2. But that does not matter because oxygen is a diatomic molecule. Now as you can see that the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. It will be multiplied with 2 because it is the number of atoms. That results in 32. Now 32 will be added with 12, so you will get 44 atomic mass units. So that is the formula mass of carbon dioxide. Another example is of fertilizer compounds. We have urea. Urea is also known as carbomoid. This is the molecular formula of urea. It is NH2 whole 2 CO. This means that it has hydrogen, it has nitrogen, carbon, and oxygen in its formula. So as you can see, there is a bracket here, which means that nitrogen's atomic mass will be multiplied with 2 And same for hydrogen, 2 multiply 2 is 4, so 4 multiply 1.008, it will result in 4.008. Now as you can see, for nitrogen, the atomic mass of nitrogen is 14, so it will be multiplied by 2, which results in 28. Now you will get the atomic mass of carbon and oxygen, and you need to add them up. When you add them up, you will get the result of 60 atomic mass units, so that will be your formula mass. This is another example of ammonium nitrate, NH4 and NO3. This means that nitrogen will be multiplied by 2. When nitrogen is multiplied by 2, you will see that the result is 28. Then you have hydrogen. Hydrogen will be multiplied by 4. After it's being multiplied by 4, you will get oxygen. Oxygen will also be multiplied by 3. Now if you see closely, why did we multiply nitrogen with 2 even though it had only one number of atom? Why? Because nitrogen appeared 2 times in this molecular formula, which means that its atomic mass will be multiplied 2 times. So the final answer is 80 atomic mass units. So the formula mass of ammonium nitrate is 80 atomic mass units. Chemical formula and the name of binary ionic compounds. As you can see, a binary ionic compound is made up of monoatomic metal canions and monoatomic non-metal anions. To write the name of such a compound, you need to write the name of the canion first, which is the metal, and then you can write the name of the anion, which is the non-metal, with the suffix IDE. Now we have an example. For example, Na+. This is a sodium ion or a sodium cation. It is a metal. Then we have Cl-. It is a chloride ion. Instead of chlorine, we say chloride. Why? Because it is an anion and it is an ion. So the suffix will be ending with IDE. So this means that Na+ will be added with Cl-. It results in NaCl, which is sodium chloride. Now this plus and minus, it represents cation and anions. Now another example is of magnesium 2+ added with chlorine minus. This means that magnesium can give 2 electrons while chlorine can receive only 1. So what this means will MgCl2 will be the final formula of magnesium chloride. And as you can see, instead of chlorine, it will be chloride, and the 2 electrons which magnesium had will be handed over to chlorine, which means that instead of Mg2Cl, it will be MgCl2. Now we have some steps to write the chemical formula. You need to write the symbols of the cation and anion. This is the first step. Now the second step is to balance their charges using the smallest multiple so that the positive charge will be equal to the total negative charge. Like NaCl, Na has +1 electron while chlorine has -1 electron. So their charges are balanced. This means that their total positive charge is equal to their total negative charge. Now the step 3 is to write the chemical formula using subscripts for how many ions of each. And the fourth step is to write the name of the compound, cation first, anion second, and the anion will end with the IDE suffix. For example, oxygen will end with oxide, chlorine will end in chloride. Now these are some examples. As you can see, we have sodium chloride. So Na+, this means that it is donating 1 electron. Chlorine minus, that it will take 1 electron. So they both will cancel each other out and the resultant will be NaCl. Now for the second, aluminum oxide, we have aluminum with 3 positive electrons, which means that it is willing to give 3 electrons, while oxygen just needs 2. This means that their values will be substituted. 2 will go to aluminum and 3 will go to oxygen. So this means Al2 and O3. Now this is the symbols and some names of cations and anions. For example, we have lithium. So the lithium is a cation and its anion will be fluoride. And now we have sodium. It is a cation. Its anion will be chloride. Then potassium is an cation, then the anion of potassium will be bromide. For magnesium it will be oxide, for calcium it will be phosphate, and for copper it will be sulfate. Now as you can see, some anions have IDE ending with them, some have ATE ending with them, and that does not matter. As you can see, fluoride has only one electron that it needs. Chloride only has one, bromide only has one. That's why its name ends with the IDE suffix. While other only need two or more than two, that's why they end with the ATE suffix. Now let's talk about Avogadro's numbers and mole. A mole is a unit for measuring the amount of a substance. 1 mole contains 6.022 multiply 10 power 23 representative particles like atoms, molecules, ions, etc. This number is known as Avogadro's number. It's similar to how a dozen represents 12 items. Now 1 mole of atom is equal to Avogadro's number of atoms, and 1 mole of molecules is equal to Avogadro's number of molecules. So just like a pair is equal to 2, a mole is equal to Avogadro's number. Now let's talk about the gram atomic mass, the gram molecular mass, and gram formula mass. The gram atomic mass is the mass of 1 mole of atom of an element in grams. So for example, the atomic mass of carbon is 12 AMU. If you remove the AMU, the gram atomic mass will only be 12 gram. Another example is of oxygen. Oxygen's atomic mass is 16. If you convert that into grams, that means 16 grams is the gram atomic mass of oxygen. Now gram molecular mass. Mass of 1 mole of molecule of a compound in gram. For example, we have H2O. This means that the number of atoms that hydrogen has is 2. It will be multiplied with its atomic mass added with 16. This is 18.016 in atomic mass units. But if I want to convert this into a molecule, what you will do is replace the AMU or gram and write MOL. This means that it is a gram molecular mass. Same for glucose. As you can see, the atomic mass unit of glucose is 180.096. If you want to convert it to gram molecular mass, just replace the AMU or the G with MOL. And gram formula mass. It is used for ionic compounds. For example, I have potassium chloride. Potassium has 39 atomic mass units. Chlorine has 35 atomic mass unit. So when they add up, it becomes 74.5 atomic mass unit. But it is an ionic compound. So ionic compounds are represented as gram, molecules, or even atoms. Now what is the difference between these terms? The first, which is the gram atomic mass, it refers to the atoms of elements like sodium and oxygen, and the gram molecular mass refers to the molecules of covalent compounds like H2O, CO2, and the gram formula mass refers to the ionic compounds like magnesium oxide, sodium chloride, etc. And all of these three refer to the mass of Avogadro's number of units of the substance. Today we're gonna learn about moles and molar mass. What is a mole? A mole is a unit used in chemistry to represent Avogadro's number of particles, which means atoms, molecules, or ions. This number, which is Avogadro's number, is 6.022 multiply 10 power 23. Just like a dozen means 12, a mole means Avogadro's number. Examples are 1 mole of carbon is equal to Avogadro's number of carbon atoms. 1 mole of sulfur is equal to Avogadro's number of sulfur atoms, and 1 mole of water is equal to Avogadro's number of water molecules. As you have seen, carbon and sulfur are atoms, while water itself is a diatomic molecule. Molar mass. Molar mass is the mass of 1 mole of a substance in grams. It is equal to the atomic or molecular mass expressed in grams. Examples are 1 mole of sulfur will be equal to 32.1 gram, and 1 mole of carbon will be equal to 12 grams. This means that its atomic mass unit will be equal to its gram. Now we have three types of masses. We have gram atomic mass, we have gram molecular mass, and then we have gram formula mass. The gram atomic mass is the mass of 1 mole of atoms. The gram molecular mass is the mass of 1 mole of molecules. And the third, gram formula mass is the mass of 1 mole of formula units of an ionic compound. The first example of molecular mass is H2O. As you have seen, the atomic mass unit of H2O is 18.016 atomic mass units, but if you convert it into grams, it will be the same. As for gram molecular mass of glucose, its atomic mass unit will be 180.096, but if you want to convert this into gram, just change the unit from AMU to gram. Now, what are the difference between these mass terms? Gram atomic mass is used for single elements like sodium, carbon, zinc, copper, oxygen, etc. While the gram molecular mass is used for molecules like H2O, glucose, and the gram formula mass is used for ionic compounds like potassium chloride, sodium chloride, magnesium oxide, etc. All of these three represent Avogadro's number of particles. I hope you guys liked my lecture. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel and I'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you.